I'm Sheila Anderson. I am co-host of The Nightbirds on Thursday nights and Friday nights from 8 to midnight. With the Will de Rivera, we co-host the new show and here on WBGO. And to welcome to WBGO Studios is a dear friend of mine. And I realize we've known each other 30 years, which is kind of incredible because you're still a kid. But he's a drummer. He's a leader, he's an educator, and one of the most highly regarded jazz drummers on the scene today, known for his blazing speed, precision, musical, and melodic playing. Joe Farnsworth, welcome to WBGO Studios. We're here to talk about your new CD that's coming out July 25th. It's called The Big Room on the Smoke Sessions label. And I got to tell you, it's been well, not a long time, but I enjoyed your CD from the first beat. I I I was just absolutely blown away. It's an incredible CD, and you have some young folks with you, and I want you to talk about the I read that the title, and you also wrote the title tune, reflects your widening vision and the next step, a celebration of deep roots and new possibilities. Can you elaborate on that? What your vision and your next step, and elaborate on that.
Well, Sheila, first of all, I've been waiting 30 years to be with you. So, man, as McCoy Tyner told me, patient endurance attains all things, and he's absolutely right, man.
Are you still president of my fan club? Because
Yes, I sure am.
okay, all right. I just want to make sure
Oh, you know it, man. I'm not giving that up at all.
oh man, I tell you, we go way back
Yes,
to
definitely.
Augie, Smoke,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
and
Bradley's.
onward and up Bradley's. Oh my goodness. So we could reminisce forever. But you were young and then, and now you're a little older, and
Mhm.
you've invited some youngins. Well, everybody's young to me.
Right, me
To play
too.
with, actually before we go into that, I'll never forget at Let's Smoke. I went to see Dr. Lonnie Smith, and
Mhm.
you were in the band. It was Lonnie and I forgot who else, but I was gonna leave. It's a long story. I was gonna leave. I was there for the first set, and I was gonna leave, and Ronnie Cuber came in. And he
Right.
said, "Yeah, George, I called George. I think he's coming down." I'm like, Ronnie Cuber's got his baritone. George Benson's on his way. That is the George Benson Quartet we're about to hear. And
Took
sure
one, man.
enough, that I mean the music was so great. I really wanted to just get on the bar and just stay. I wish there'd been a recording, but Lonnie was kind of like, okay, George, I got something for you.
He's,
He's like, okay, it was just an incredible, and there you were on
yep, can you
drums.
believe
How intimidated were you at that on that gig? That was, oh my goodness, almost 30 years ago, it seems like.
Yeah, well, I mean, what's funny about it is that my roommate was the great Jimmy Lovelace for 8 years, and Jimmy played with that group.
Yes, exactly. He's on the recording.
And so I was obviously I got a lot of things and of style of playing and attributes from Jimmy for being with around them every day for 8 years. So playing with them, it kind of it felt good to me, especially keeping Jimmy's spirit alive, you know.
Yes.
'Cause I
Wow.
loved him, man. He was a great drummer, man, and he was one of the guys talk about like Art Blakey and Art Taylor and Jimmy Cobb, which is rightfully so. But there was a whole layer of drummers underneath them that were so good, man. Guys like Jimmy Lovelace and Leroy Williams and Eddie Gladden. That's why New York was so special, you know.
Yes. Now, I was surprised that I read that. I didn't know this about you, that you had gone to high school in Jakarta.
Yes.
How did that come to be, that you were in high school there?
My parents were both teachers in Massachusetts. My father's a music teacher, And my mother was my favorite teacher of all time in third grade in center school. And it just so happened that they cut all these school fundings and taxes. I mean, school fundings, it was Proposition 2.5. And they both lost their jobs. And they both, I guess they decided to go as far away as possible. And you couldn't get any farther than Indonesia. And my four older brothers were in college, so I was the only one that went. I was really upset going, but once I was there, I loved it.
Wow. And you did all 4 years there.
Oh no, just two, just two.
Just two. Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
S- So you mentioned that your father, mother, they're a musician, and your brothers are musicians. Did you know from a young age that you were going to be a musician, or was it something you just sort of moved into?
Well, it was. I have four other brothers, so we had three bedrooms, and I stayed with my brother David, who was the oldest. He was a drummer, and he kind of played like Grady Tate, very smooth. But in his room he was a massive fan of Don Cornelius and Soul Train. And so we had all that playing and big band, Buddy Rich and Count Basie with Sonny Payne. We were all Sonny Payne freaks growing up. And then my brother James's room, and he's number four, right above me. He played with Ray Charles. He played saxophone, and his room was just constantly Sonny Stitt and Sonny Rollins. And my brother John's room was like J.J. Johnson and Charlie Parker. So I mean, I would go like it was like 52nd Street, but only 23 Hadley Street. So I'd go hang out with my brother David for a set. Then I'd walk over and see the next set at my brother James's room, and then go over to my brother John's room. I just did that until I graduated high school. Every night was listening party.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah, it was so fun.
exciting.
Yeah, it really
That
was, man. It really was.
Yeah. So how did you come to you worked you mentored with Art Taylor before you went to William Patterson. Is that correct?
No, I actually through listening and getting records with my brothers, I I learned about Tony Williams, and through the liner notes, I discovered Alan Dawson, who was a great drum teacher out of Boston, and so my father would drive me out there every 2 weeks for like 3 years, and he taught everybody: Clifford Jarvis, Terry Lynn Carrington, Jeff Watts, just so many players, and once I got to William Patterson in New York, um, I didn't. I needed more out of my drum lessons, and I used to have this musicians union phone book, and it seemed like it was a red little phone book, and everybody was in it. Sheila, there was Walter Bishop, Walter Davis, Jack DeJohnette, Elvin Jones, Tommy Flanagan, Percy Heath, and I would just go down and call everyone up Fridays and Saturday nights. So a lot of times they didn't pick up. A lot of times they hung up on me, like, Who's this? What's this guy calling me for?" And click. But then sometimes people would talk to me. Especially Al Foster was very kind to me. He was the one that stood up. But I got to the T section, and I said, "Art Taylor, oh man!" And I was just in love with him playing on Jack McLean's "Tipping the Scales" or Red Garland's "It's a Blue World." Of course, Giant Steps and the stuff with Monk, Bud Powell, and I just couldn't believe he lived. My brother lived on 106 in Amsterdam, and he was in Sugar Hill, like maybe 156 in St. Nick's, and so he picked up, and I just couldn't believe I was talking to him. And a week later, I was at his house at 3 p.m.
Amazing. I used to see him
Yeah,
when Birdland was uptown. He was there a lot,
yeah.
and I got to talk to him a little bit. And
Oh yeah, he was
I
good.
wasn't even on the radio, but
Yeah,
I was so in awe of him, and he was such a
me
cool
too.
guy. Cool guy.
Cool guy. That's what like it was like a huge lesson for me because I thought he was just a record making machine. And then when you actually meet him as actually a person, and he had like a daughter, and the way he spoke and that mustache and it's just everything. Like when he walked in the room, like your posture got better, the conversation got better. Like Harold Mavin says, your like IQ went from like 800 to 1,000 when he walked in there, man. It was thrilling. And like he was AT before he got on the drums, man. The drums were just an outlet for how cool he was, man.
Right, right. Well, you mentioned Harold Mayburn, and he was
Yeah.
very, very instrumental in your development.
Yes.
What kinds of things did did you learn from? I mean, I'm sure it's so much, but what kinds
Yeah.
of things did you learn from Mabes?
Well, the first thing I ever played, he was a teacher at William Patterson. And I got to William Patterson. I was studying with Alan Dawson. I'm a big Tony Williams guy. So I was gonna do my first jury do no, it was like when you play for all the teachers and your student groups, and it's like juries, and everyone's there, all the teachers are there, and Harold's there. And I'm 17 years old, and I was gonna play. We played Seven Steps to Heaven, and I was gonna burn the place down, man. Because I've been studying with Alan Dawson. I was the next Tony Williams, and then I played, and he said, "Young man, you got to learn to walk before you know how to run." And that was the only thing he said to me. I just went, whoop, I went down, and I just knew I wanted to be around him. And then I started seeing him with George Coleman. And as you know, in the '80s, there was so many great groups. One of my favorites, one of the most under talked about, was Nat Adderley's group with Jimmy Cobb. They played so good. Larry Willis. But my favorite two people in New York, out of all of them, out of Milt Jackson, out of Elvin Jones, out of Roy Haynes, out of Tommy Flanagan, was Cedar Walton's trio and George Coleman's quartet. Those were the two people I wanted to be around. So I made myself there every time they played. And Harold was he was like a second father to me. One instance, like he would do this thing with George, and it was like Phineas newborn triplets. And so if the time was 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, it'd be da 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 da. Phineas used to do it, and Harold was doing it. Harold would do it behind George's solo for like two choruses with the great Billy Higgins playing with them, and and Billy would play the triplets on the snare drum, and people would go crazy. And then when I started playing with Harold, he did it, and it's like I know exactly what to do because I saw Billy do it, and I started doing it, and he stopped us and says, "Ah, man," he says, "Don't play with me, play for me. Like, don't jump on what I'm doing. You got to support me." And it was such a hard lesson to really grasp because I saw Billy do it, and I always wondered, how could Billy do it and I can't do it? And it was just, and the other thing was that, and it was like you could never swing hard enough. Like sometimes, because he'd say, "Hey, come on, boy, you got to swing harder. You got to swing harder." And like George would open up with like, "This I dig of you," and then he'd turn around and play the saxophone in my face. I'm like, "Oh man, I gotta make it so George turns around." And Harold's over there comping really hard. And after the set, I said, "Come on, man, you got to swing harder." It was always you can't swing hard enough, man. And the way he was off the bandstand, he was just pure heart, man. He was like the most pure of heart musician I met. You know,
Yeah. Yeah, and
back in the
he
yeah,
loved you guys, man. Mabe
yeah, he
loved you
really
guys.
did. He really
One for
did.
all. When I had to the museum, he's like, he took the mic. He said, "These guys are great." Man, I was like, "Oh, wow, all right, babes." You know, speaking of swinging,
Yeah,
the first your CD, The Big Room,
yeah,
opens with a song Sarah Hanahan wrote,
yeah.
Continuance. I was like, whoa, whoa. So how what what is it that these musicians on a recording bring? So you have Emma Cohen on piano, Yasushi Nakamura, Mr. Thump Thump on bass, and Joe Ross on vibes, and Jeremy
Yeah,
Pelt on
yeah.
trumpet. How what what do they bring to your group, or I should say, how do they fit into your vision, your vision going forward?
Well, definitely. Right before COVID, three of my biggest mentors, heroes passed away: Harold Mayburn, Pharoah Sanders, and McCoy Tyner. And all three, it's like, were so important to me, and I learned so much just by watching them. I mean, the playing I could go on forever, but just by watching how strong they were and how spiritually fit they were. I thought Farrell was, but I'd never been around someone as powerful as McCoy Tyner. And they all passed around right before COVID. Then COVID hits and everything stops, and I'm like, boy, maybe music's not the same anymore. And this sounds stupid, Sheila. I was like, I'm 57 now. Billy Higgins isn't here. These guys aren't here. Art Taylor's not here. Jimmy Cobb passed away. I'm 53. Maybe it's time to grow up, man. And I was like, and I got to start taking more responsibility on and off the bandstand. And I was thinking, and then you get on social media and everything was so negative, like jazz stinks, it doesn't swing, or there's modern jazz, and then there's traditional jazz, there's free jazz, there's out jazz, all this stuff, and oh, New York's not the same anymore. This stinks, and this guy stinks, and it was so negative. I'm like, maybe that life we knew in the '80s and '90s is done. And then I started like a lot of people live streaming to do something. And Emmett Cohen was like getting like 10 million people on his Emmett's
Right.
place. Like, maybe we could do the same thing. So me and Eric Alexander started doing it. And the first night we got about 15 people. So I said, well, hey, it's the beginning. Maybe we'll build up to something. Then the third time we did it, there was this girl over there, and she was sitting waiting her the whole time, like 2 hours. And the way she held her saxophone, and I used to love the way Jackie held his alto, or how the way Johnny Griffin played, or just how Freddie Hubbard played. And and I saw a video recently of Miles Davis saying you could tell if a person plays good by the way they hold their horn. And I believe him 100% because I could see it in these guys. And when she was holding it, I'm like, damn, it seems like she's got a little edge to her. And she finally played, and she just hit a note, and it's just made the hair in the back of my neck stand up like, oh my god, man, these Farrell and McCoy they aren't dead. It's not over. These people are alive in her, and I could feel it, Sheila, and like so like it was like a gift from God. Like I need to be around this person, so I spent the last 5 years being around her. So when I made this record, she was like the she was like the focal point for me because she really means the world to me, and she has that spirit like a Pharaoh Sanders. So I had to have her, and I told her you have to write the first tune because the first tune sets the tone for the whole thing. And I didn't hear it before we played it, but I had complete trust in her. Yeah,
Well, well, I tell you, the first notes, I was like, oh my God. And when I
yeah.
finally saw who wrote the songs, I was like, whoa, Sarah Hannah. And the ballad and Jeremy just really, I mean, the ballad,
Oh man,
I mean, let's see. What am I waiting for? All right, did he write that one? No.
well, that's Joe
Uh
Ross.
yes, Joe, but and
But Jeremy plays
killing.
"When I Fall in Love." What's the second ballad?
Oh, I fall in love
Yeah.
so easily. Yes.
Well, what happened was I've been playing a lot with Emmett Cohen, and I've been learning a lot from him, especially like just spreading the joy of music and playing strong, and he allows me to play free, and so I knew I had to have him on it. And Yasushi Nakamura, man, he's like one of the best bass players ever, man. It reminds me of like if Oscar Pettiford met Tommy Flanagan meets Billy Strayhorn, that's what like the sound of the bass, that's what it sounds like. It's like royalty. And he allows me to be free. Joel Ross is someone that I'd never met before or heard, but I've been listening to a little bit, and I knew he's one of the leaders of like this new generation. And I love the way he plays, and it sounds, it's rooted in the history, but it's free. And I knew having him on it and playing some of his tunes that would help kind of like take off some of the blinders I have on. I knew
Yeah.
he'd help free me up. Now back to our buddy Jeremy Pelt. I was just gonna do quintet, and then but Pelt's always on my mind, and he's one of the New York, like heavies, man. And we'd played 2 weeks before it, and he played a ballad, "When I Fall in Love." I was like, I just need him on the record. I just like when you're going to war or you're going to a championship game 7, like you got to have Bill Russell in there, man. You got to have someone that you know for sure is going to deliver, and that's that. I just wanted him to play that ballad, man. It was great.
It is great. And so that's the only standard that you have because
Yeah,
Emmett wrote You Already Know, Joe
yeah,
wrote two, Prime Time and Radical, and you wrote two, the title tune, The Big Room, and right? You wrote two?
yeah. I wrote the well. I didn't write Big Room. That's Here's another thing that was interesting. I wanted to play Totally Free with Joel Ross, and that's what the big room really represents to me. That's what I learned from Jackie McLean, Max Roach, and Ron Carter. Is like when Bird would get at a certain level, then he'd go into that next level where he'd go into a room where all the rules were broken down. He could just play whatever he want, man, from the creator through his heart to the people. And there was no inhibitions, there was no rules. He was just playing like heavenly. And Jackie played like that, and Train, and a lot of people we know. And Joel plays like that. And I wanted to play something with just not even talking to it, like a Max Roach, Cecil Taylor, or Max Roach, Archie Shepp. Just play. And it just so happens that his brother plays drums, and they played duos a lot. And my brother James, who plays saxophone, I played duos a lot. So we grew up with kind of the same things that we played. And what was funny about it was we ended, and Paul Stash was like, maybe we got to do take two because you didn't end very well. And I was kind of thinking in my mind, yeah, it was a little bit funny, but Joel was like, no, that's the way it was supposed to be because that's the way we did it in the moment. And see, there was a part of myself and my generation, like listening to those records, and we want to sound like perfect like the records, or I want to sound perfect like Max Roach. And guys like Joe Ross, they just want to play and what's in the moment. And he was absolutely right. I said, that's it. That's all we're doing. Because that's what we played in the moment.
Right, right, right. I'm excited. I'm excited for you.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
excited for you and your journey going forward. And so here I met you were the kid and now you're the as you say, the grown up. How
Yeah.
does it feel being the grown up?
Feels great. I'm much more in control. I feel great. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, you're going to be presenting this I think in September, right?
Yes.
You're going to be so Joe Farnsworth, your CD is The Big Room and it's incredible.
Yes.
It's on Smoke Sessions label. It's out July 25th
Hmm.
and also you're going to be premiering it in September at Smoke, of course.
Yeah. I think it's like 4 through 7, whatever the
Yeah.
Wednesday, the first week in September.
Well, I'm going to be there.
I can't wait. I
You
can't
know
wait to get
that.
my hug and kiss.
That's right. That's right. Hey, that's how we do.
That's how we do it.
How we
That's
do it.
fellowship. That's fellowship.
Well, we could talk forever. I know
Uh,
you're about to, I guess, go to work, but
yeah.
I'm glad that you took the time out to talk to me today, and we'll do more of it going forward. But
Well,
always a pleasure.
you're one of the great shepherds of this music and life, man. And every time I see you, I get so happy. So I've been waiting for this moment for 30 years.
And here it is. And it
Yeah,
seems
here it
like
is.
it just went like that.
I'm gonna remember it for the rest of my life. Thank you so much.
I love you, Joe.
Love you,
Again, Joe
Sheila.
Farnsworth, your CD is terrific, and we'll see more of you and hear more of it when it comes out July 25th. So thanks for coming to WBGO Studios and spending
Thank
this
you so
time
much.
with us. And I'll see you
Thanks.
soon.
See you later.